Hi, I'm LJ Baker, and I'm here at Corpus Christi, Texas, and I'd like to interview a man who went out of his way to assist those who were in need over at the Katrina catastrophe back in 2005, was that?
2005.
Okay, tell the world why you did what you did and what the results is right now.
Well, the fact is that many years ago, I gave my life to God. And I'm not a religious man, but I am a great believer that God created all of us and that we have a responsibility to help every living thing in this earth. And so I started my passion for helping those that God created. And having said that, I feel I've been guided all these years to do good things for our fellow man. One of the most important things that I can say that I've involved doing is that I started helping the poor, the needy, the destitute, and so forth. But through the years, I've been fortunate and I've been humbled by the direction that God has put me to help others in great needs. And one example was during the Katrina hurricane in Louisiana. I took 15 people with me, 15 men, my 2 sons, myself, and a police chief, a district attorney, 3 doctors, 3 nurses, and other labor workers to Louisiana 3 days after the incident. And while I was there, they had curfews and they had triage centers, and they would not let anybody help that were not involved with Red Cross or anything like that. What I did, though, is I went in there and said, I'm a citizen from Corpus Christi, Texas, a city in the United States of America, and I'm here to help another city that is in great need. So from city to city, we represent ourselves as a great nation under God, and we're going to come and help as best we can. They did not allow me to go straight into Louisiana because they were sniper fire and all kinds of problems. There was very full floods going on and so forth. And so what they did let me do is go to LSU College or University, where there was a triage center. The doctors there saw the doctors I had, and the director there immediately said, can you take over? We've been 24/7. You guys look fresh. Can you take care of the triage center? And we started immediately to work. While the doctors were doing their work, my sons and I and other people that had gone with me, the 15 of us, we started interviewing people. And I got on top of a table and I said, listen here, Corpus Christi is a beautiful place. I know a lot of you haven't taken a shower. I know you're down, you're depressed, you don't have a home. I want to welcome you to the great city of Corpus Christi, Texas. And whoever wants to go with me, I have a form you need to fill out for me, and we'll find out as much as we can about you. We got phones, we got shelter, we got food. This is not government assistance. This is citizen to citizen. I've got a letter from my mayor who asked me to come by here and talk to you all and to welcome you back into Texas. How many of you want to go? And of course, a lot of people were skeptical. They didn't know. They were tired. They were exhausted. They were being fed. There were gobs of people all over the place in this college buildings, and they got the word. And little by little, people came and said, "Sir, you say you will take us to Texas. What's going to happen to us?" I said, "Well, one thing's going to happen to you. Our whole city of Corpus Christi is going to help you. We're going to give you clothing. We're going to feed you, not by government assistance, but by us citizens. We got hotels. We'll have the first day or 2 shelter and beds that have already been furnished by the sheriff's department. Our current sheriff and his deputy, Chief Jimmy Rodriguez, will assist us, have warm food, showers, everything you need. And then we'll start placing you in different places so you can live while you establish yourself in your hometown." And so people started saying, well, I want to go. Now I want to go. And then I want to go. And so what wound up happening is at the end of the day, the doctor chose 10 people that are in wheelchairs. And we chose the folks that were in the most of need and who were willing to come. And it wound up being 83. So our 2 buses got full. were the only two buses that were able to get out of there because they were not letting anybody that volunteered. We had over 500 buses that had volunteered to go help, but the red tape, the government red tape and things were not allowing people to do their job. I actually was surrounded by lawmen when I was getting ready to leave Louisiana and told that I could not take anybody with me if I didn't have Red Cross permission or Homeland or whatever their status was. And I said to them and stood up to them, and I'm a short guy, only 5'6". They were 6'2" or maybe 6'5", great big men, all with guns and badges, and the National Guard and the commander, and said, yeah, we can't let you take this, folks, just like that. We don't know who you're taking. We don't know what you're doing. You're just a citizen. I said, well, precisely, I'm a citizen of this great nation under God, the United States of America. And if these adults want to go with me, I am not taking any children unless they're with their parents, and I've got all the information on them, and I'm going to take them with me. And if you can stop me, and you have the authority to stop me, then you do so. But let it be known that I am a citizen, and I am taking them home. So we brought 83 people back.
Wow.
While they were here, we got welcomed by Corpus Christi. We got lots of people contributing blankets and things and so forth. And before we knew it, we got settled 83 people. Now, FEMA and all these characters had a plan, and their plan was to subsidize these folks, but it was taking them a long time to process them and everything else. My goal was just a God-given, driven opportunity to do God's work, and so I did God's work. I didn't go by mankind. I didn't follow mankind's rules or regulations. I didn't break any rules or regulations, but I followed God's instruction, and my instruction was to love folks, to pray with them if they needed, to furnish a cell phone if they needed to get help. Or I had a young lady who was a prostitute that I brought back with me. She had AIDS. And this young lady came, and she had been thrown out by the pimp, kicked out during the hurricane, and they had to rescue her in a helicopter.
Wow.
And I went to that night when we got home, and I asked each individual, what is your biggest need and desire to have right now? And this lady, young lady, maybe 30 years old or so, said to me, I would like to call my daddy and let him know that I'm okay. And so I got my phone and told what's his phone number. We called him, and she got to speak with her daddy, and hadn't spoken to him for 7 or 8 months. Of course, he was not approving of her lifestyle. She was into drugs, and so, but the father was so grateful that she was contacting him, and he did not have to be concerned that she was safe.
Yeah.
So all that happened. There was many other incidents, a lot of other folks. One particular high-end lady who was used to having everything, she said to me, the only thing I want is to take a shower and get a hairdresser to fix my hair because I go every Friday. And things of that nature.
Yeah.
That we don't realize of the people's need and the depression that they go through for tiny little things that we can do to help. And so that was the very beginning of that journey. But since then, God has also sent me on 2 other missions. Alabama, when they had their tornadoes and disaster last year, God spoke to my heart and said, what are you doing watching the disaster on television? And it's not like he spoke to me in a great big voice and say, Al, what are you doing? It's just a little inner voice said to me, and you're watching all this, and you're in your living room next to your wife, and you flip the channel and you start seeing CSI, and you've forgotten the disaster of this. What are you doing sitting in that couch? And so I said, if you're speaking to me, what do you want me to do? He said, well, you took 2 buses to Katrina in 2005. Surely you can get a bus and go now and help people out. And this is what I did at Heckleburg. A few months later, another disaster in Joplin, Missouri.
Yeah.
And again, the same instructions. And my sons, my wife, and I had the opportunity to serve God by serving mankind.
Wow.
God first and then mankind. There is nothing that I could have done or did that really made a difference except that I obeyed God. And then when you obey God, then God does things for you, I know that all the things I did, and my children did, and my wife did, were a blessing to me, and to my wife, and to my children. We learned so much. We appreciate so much more. We're grateful that we have been given this opportunity, and so we've done that. Now I want to switch a little bit, because this gentleman that has asked me to do this interview, the impact I want to make to whoever's listening. All of us have a part. One seed planted at a time will create a harvest. This gentleman that has taken the journey to go to 50 states and get as much information as he can about people that do the things that we do to bless others, his part is major, because without him, we would not be able to speak to you as we're speaking now. I know a lot of you are motivated, like I have been motivated, to do God's work. And whether you believe in God or not, you need to know that when we look at each other, we have a purpose that we're going to live, and a purpose that we're going to die. And what we do in between those two journeys is to realize that the most important is to look to your fellow man and say, thank you. Thank you for being a great person that wants to make a difference in this great nation under God. So thank you for listening to what I have spoken about. I don't know how much it will help you. It has helped me, my wife, and my children tremendously. So God bless you all.
And the world thanks you for contributing your time and your labor and all the sources you had to give to those who needed it.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen.